Hong Kong, renowned for its bustling economy and vibrant business landscape, is witnessing a notable shift in the mindset of its business leaders when it comes to pursuing sustainable careers. As the world grapples with environmental challenges and social responsibility concerns, Hong Kong's business community has recognized the need to adopt a more sustainable approach to their careers. This evolving perspective reflects a growing realization that long-term success and profitability can be achieved hand in hand with environmental stewardship and social impact. In this discussion, Hong Kong business leaders will share their experience and expertise in ESG, providing insights and practical tips for future sustainability practitioners. They will also explore the employment prospects, offering interview questions to help candidates succeed.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ESG, Elite Sharing Sustainable Career and Society. My name is Dr. Gonzalo Hernández Soto, and I'm going to be the host and moderator for today's event. Today, we are going to be discussing about ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. Our main idea, the main approach of today's event is just to approach on how Hong Kong business leaders, they tend to approach on ESG and what is the career possibilities in the field. This event is organized in partnership with Institute of ESG and Benchmark, and we are very honored to have with us Mr. Paul Pond. Thank you so much for staying today with us. He is the founder of Institute of IESGB and also will be the moderator and host alongside with me for today's event. Mr. Pond, is there anything you would like to share for us?
Yes, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Paul Pond, one of the founders of the Institute of ESG and Benchmark. On behalf of IESGB, I would like to express my sincere welcome to all of you to our event today. Today, we will be discussing ESG in terms of development, factors affecting it, how it is applied, how we can advocate, and career prospects for all of you in this field. In recent years, ESG become a hot topic around the world. Companies and investors begin to realize that ignoring environmental problems, social issues, and poor governance is both financially and reputationally damaging. Climate change is increasing, being treated as one of the major financial risks rather than only a corporate social responsibility issue. Especially under the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic, companies throughout the world have been tested for their resilience. As expected, companies with better governance have more advantage in tackling the problem and are less affected. Companies with good ESG performance and risk management can help mitigate the effect of a crisis, accelerate recovery, and spark innovation. ESG reporting is one of the methods to assess a company's ESG performance and risk management. In 2020, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange has made ESG report a compulsory requirement for listed companies. The importance and demand for ESG reporting to judge the company's long-term performance as well as risk management have increased. But the ESG talent shortage is a big problem for the listed company SME in Hong Kong as well as GPA. IESGB is a non-profit organization. Our primary goal is to accelerate the sustainable development agenda for intention to implementation. We organize a wide range of ESG-related training and activity to cultivate the talent in the ESG area and raise awareness. Helping to keep up with the rising demand for ESG in Hong Kong and on a global scale, we wish to develop comprehensive ESG community and ecosystem for all stakeholders like government bodies, regulator, investor, clients, employee, employer, like all those corporation, shareholder, investment industry, university like Hong Kong MU and their students. Then we could uphold the ESG standard. Ultimately, ethics is our final goal. As for students, working in the ESG field, should have a promising future. There's high demand for ESG-related position, and several companies are looking for talent in this area. For instance, PwC has proposed to create 100,000 new jobs related to ESG aspect by 2026. New World Development also held a large-scale job fair creating 1,000 positions, including ESG strategies. In addition, recent research has also shown the Hong Kong ESG job can command salary premium of over 30%, indicating a high demand for those positions. ESG jobs are more diverse than a few years before, which expand from data collection and analysis to introducing the value of the ESG into original business model, bringing long-term benefit to the firm and the community. The importance of the ESG is just like compliance in every financial corporation, and now ESG talent is important for the 2,000 listed companies in Hong Kong due to the climate change. ESG is must for our future. If you could grab the opportunity, you may be the first batch to know and grow the ESG together in Hong Kong. Hopefully, today's campus sharing will be valuable insight into the ESG field, as well as staying relevant and up-to-date on the latest ESG developments, opportunity, achievement, and challenge based on first-hand sharing. At ESG, we also hope to provide ESG recognition and ESG CPD, as well as professional designation like CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, CFT, Certified Financial Technologist. We hope to help our students to equip themselves better and pave the way for ESG or sustainability careers. I hope all have a clear idea about the great potential of ESG development and how to be a strong candidate when applying for ESG-related position. Without further ado, let us make a start. Let's start the panel discussion part with the topic of ESG development and strategy in Hong Kong.
Thank you so much for your words, Paul. Let's start with the topic for the first part, the discussion board on Hong Kong as the global landscape for ESG. So my first question to Vivinia, please, what do you think about Hong Kong? What are the potentials of Hong Kong in the global landscape for ESG? Can you tell us about the strategy?
So for Hong Kong, there are various aspects that contribute to Hong Kong's position as a green and sustainable finance hub. So, for example, its robust infrastructure as an international financial center, and also the tremendous opportunities brought by its unique position, unique gateway between the East and the West, so bridging the regions together. From the investment perspective, when we look at the Greater Bay Area, the scale of sustainable finance investment is expected to reach $450 billion by 2030, and with the mainland market, the whole will need at least $25 trillion in green investment to meet the national 3060 dual carbon target. And if we look at the broader Asian market, so climate-related investment needs around $66 trillion over the next 30 years, which doesn't sound too big of a surprise for you guys. So with such a huge demand for capital, Hong Kong as an international financial center can actually ride on its advantages to help to bridge the gap between China's market to fund different green projects. So the government has also been working in concerted efforts with lots of regulators and also the industry in taking the ESG, green and sustainable development forward. For example, like besides investment, in respect of standard and reporting disclosure, Hong Kong attached really great importance in this area. They try best to align the standards with the international ones. To name a few, the Green and Sustainable Finance Center, Green and Sustainable Cross-Agency Steering Group, they actually requires relevant sectors to make climate-related disclosure in accordance with the TCFD, the internationally aligned recommendations by 2025. And the steering group also supports the ISSB in developing a detailed and more comprehensive framework in sustainability reporting standards. More to introduce, SFC and HAES are working together to develop a climate reporting framework for listed companies. So we can see that Hong Kong government and also the regulators have been paying a lot of effort in standardizing the reporting and also the climate disclosure areas. And in terms of talent development, the government is actually providing subsidies to different trainings for the acquisition of different qualifications, professional qualifications or sustainable finance. We can see that the government is committed to strengthening in nurturing the local talent pool. And then for capturing new opportunities, besides the ESG, the green and sustainable initiative that we usually heard of, there is quite a new initiative in Asian market. I think it's the carbon trading opportunities. The HKEX has set up Core Climate, which is an international carbon trading center. So we can see that Hong Kong has an aim to establish itself into international carbon trading market. So we can see that Hong Kong, there is lots of opportunities lying ahead for the green and sustainable finance. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your view. Mr. Vincent, same question goes for you. What do you think about Hong Kong as the global landscape for ESG?
We have seen a rapid ESG development in Hong Kong and also China in recent years that driven by the government's targets and also the regulators. I would like to highlight three key ESG trends today. The first being the carbon market. Carbon market is recently developed by the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They launching the Core Climate in October last year. That is a new voluntary international carbon marketplace that will help mobilize private capital to a low carbon transition. Over 400,000 tons of carbon credits were traded in November alone. So that is a promising start. There are many opportunities lying in Hong Kong's strategic position as the gateway to the mainland China. So for example, Hong Kong can offer international investors with easy access to Chinese markets, such as the national emission trading system and those in the Greater Bay Area. Close collaboration with Chinese market operator and regulator will also accelerate the development of carbon trading markets, which will boost Hong Kong competitiveness over other overseas exchanges. The second trend is about green finance in Hong Kong. As you mentioned, Hong Kong is one of the international financial centers. Hong Kong plays a huge role to advancing global net zero efforts. We've seen a fourfold increase in the local green debt market since 2020. Now, in 2021, that reached $56.6 billion US. It's also a diverse market with products such as funds, loans, and bonds, including issued by multilateral organizations such as the World Bank. A broader product range, stronger talent pool, and alignment with international disclosure standards will help Hong Kong to act as a hub for green finance in Asia. China's commitment to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060 is another key theme that presents both risks and opportunities. Companies are already feeling the pressure. There's over almost 70% of Chinese industrial companies believing that the national goal will impact their business. It's essential that companies start establishing decarbonization strategies with transparent targets and data to meet regulatory and market needs. Ultimately, companies' decarbonization action will determine their long-term access to capital, reputational credentials, and investor confidence. So hope you feel just optimistic and confident as I do about Hong Kong and China ESG development. It's an exciting time to be in the industry, and I personally can't wait to see what's the future for ESG. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Fong, would you like to share?
Okay. I think after the two speakers, opportunity for the ESG is abundance, I think, in this part of the world, especially Hong Kong and Greater China. For the environmental, you can see the 50% of total growth will be in China. I heard one statistic is about 1.1 trillion. Over 50% is actually in China, from the carbon emission to net zero, and all this is 2060. Then for that role, I think there's a lot of opportunity, which actually have a lot of opportunity. They mentioned is about carbon trading and also the green bond and green financing. And there is a lot of opportunity for that, especially green bond. In Hong Kong, we already launched the green bond for the retail investor, which is a very big leap. In future, I think all our MPF or retirement or also scheme, we can invest in the green bond. We can provide a lot of financial support to those corporation or listed company to expand, go into the ESG faster and better than the other part of the world. So may I take this opportunity also to ask another two speakers. One is Melanie Guo and also Johnny Yu about their company development in the sustainability. First of all, I will try to ask Melanie Guo first.
Thank you. Love the gender equality here. Sino Group, as you know, is actually a developer in Hong Kong, growing with the community for 52 years. And sustainability is very important in our operations. Especially recent years, we actually seen, just now we've mentioned ESG rating. Sino Group actually have 3 listed companies. So up to today, we have to align over 15 to 18 local and ESG standards. For us, we call exams. So every year we have 15 to 18 exams. So imagine, I mean, the students here, if you think your student life is difficult, comes to the corporate sustainability and you feel that we also working hard every day. For Sino Group, we actually commit in a vision called creating better lifescapes. And one thing we are dedicated in 3 areas. First of all is decarbonization. We've mentioned about climate risk just now. Sino Group also recently partnered with a professional consultant to conduct climate risk assessment covering over 170 properties in Hong Kong. And that covers both existing building and new buildings. Because after all, as you can see, climate impact is already happening in Hong Kong. We have extreme weather conditions these days. So as a developer, we feel that we have a very important role to also work harder on enhancing our climate resilience features. So aside from climate risk, we are also one of the 5th developer to sign and pledge on a business ambition 1.5 degrees. And as you know, Sino Group is very dedicated in innovation. So we look into innovative solutions to promote circular economy. Very recently, we actually worked with a startup called EcoBricks. And the bricks itself is actually made of over 7 types of upcycled plastic. And that really helps to eradicate the plastic issues in Hong Kong. And hopefully, very soon, we don't need to wear a mask, and that also helps to reduce the mask itself. My last part is also the Farm Together project. Hong Kong recently opened its border, but as you know that for the past 3 years, we couldn't travel far away. So how do we actually take a fresh air? How do we freshen my mind? So Sino Group actually leveraged this opportunity to have a Farm Together projects. We have 20 farms in Hong Kong and Singapore. We look into existing buildings and see that there's opportunity to convert into farmland. So we have different types of farms, butterfly farms, we have pumpkin farms, etc. And that really helps to promote wellness. When we talk about ESG trend later, one word that I think emerged from the market because of the pandemic is the word called wellness. I think that's something that actually brought us new opportunity as well. So we have Farm Together project. So I'll pass to Johnny first, and then we can also talk more later.
Johnny, so I heard about your company sustainability have 4 pillars. So what is the 4th pillar about? What is the secret about that?
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and thanks, Melanie. It's good to see everybody again. So maybe a brief intro of our company, Henderson Land. The company is founded by Dr. Lee Shao-Ki, and we are focusing on property development, property management, and also property investment in terms of sustainability, which is to integrate our 4 strategies, our 4 pillars into our day-to-day operations. So there are 3 risks that we are trying to tackle. The first one is climate change that we talk about all the time. Second one is COVID pandemic and health and wellness issues, as everybody is getting more and more aware. And the third one is how do we promote a sustainable city in both Hong Kong and China? So in order to do this, we must have a good strategy in place, which is called GIVE, G-I-V-E. So G is definitely stand for green for the planet. So we try to reduce our impact to the environment, and that's why over the years we have built up a large portfolio of green buildings and healthy buildings in both Hong Kong and China. If you were to look at the number of green certifications, Henderson Land probably has the largest number of green cert in Hong Kong. We want to support the finance side. So in terms of green finance, we have over 30 billion in standby facilities with over 10 banks locally and internationally. So we do it in innovative currencies as well. We do it in Hong Kong dollar, US dollar, Japanese yen, and renminbi. We try to support the green finance industry and try to focus on different green projects. Talked about carbon trading. So we were also one of the first developers in Hong Kong to execute the first carbon trading via the government called Climate Hong Kong Stock Exchange platform. So it was a good initiative to tell people that we would like to support carbon trading as well. So that's what we do on the green side. In terms of innovation, I is for innovation, innovation for future. So we think about property technology, we think about automation, make use of technology to embrace sustainable future. But apart from tech innovation, we also think about social innovation as well. So what I mean by social innovation is that existing and conventional ways of doing things, and we like to innovate the way that we build, we design, and we develop the urban areas. We often engage our stakeholders in the project and try to enhance the quality of living, embrace innovation for a sustainable future. So V and E stand for value for people and therefore for community. We want to protect our staff and our partners' health and safety, especially in the construction industry. We have to make sure that the injury rate is kept at the minimum level. We would like to promote health and wellness, and that's why back in 2018, Henderson Land has a program in place to support sports and wellness, which is called the Henderson Commendation Scheme for Elite Athletes. So 2 years ago in the Olympic game, in the Paralympic, and also the 14th National Games, we have donated over 23 million Hong Kong dollars to support the elite athletes. And finally, on the community side, whenever we think about redevelopment project, we always think, how do we improve the overall community? One of the projects in Hong Kong and Wong Po, if you walk around the street in Wong Po, they're quite narrow. It's only 2 meters wide. So under the new redevelopment, we have widened the street to 3.5 meters. Hopefully the residents and the neighborhood people who live there will have a much better experience. We partner with the government, with the NGO to support government's initiative on transitional housing because there's too many underprivileged families waiting for public housing. We also did the largest social housing project in Gong Hawaii.
I think for your two corporations, like Sino and Henderson, they have a lot of project and also a lot of initiative in the ESG. So how can you do your duty and the role to drive all this in your corporation?
What is the most important role we play? I would say that as a sustainability practitioner, the most important is governance for me, because without the driver, without being the governance, it's very difficult to know what to prioritize in your ESG because you only have 365 days, and yet there's a certain amount of work you have to do. As a leader leading the team in sustainability, I feel it's very important to have good governance. So for Sino Group, we have already set 38 sustainability goals, but these goals are set within and across the whole department. And secondly, I think with the developers and many corporates, you have many frontline staff. And now this is really important because when we speak the language of sustainability, we need to make sure everyone knows what you're talking about, therefore work together with you. So one thing I would say is an opportunity rather than challenge is that I often think sustainability and ESG is easy to understand. But when I speak to other colleagues, we need to speak in a layman way that everyone can understand. How can colleagues, especially frontline, can understand sustainability the way we understand? So we actually set up a sustainability academy 3 years ago. Our academy is actually to set a vision that by 2025, we have 100% colleagues that's been trained by ESG. We have workshops that teach them UN SDG goals. We bring them to see the farms. We actually have different workshops for them, very fun to play. But most importantly, we want to make sure every staff know that sustainability is their role. So we set a new target, assistant manager and grade above. Everyone needs to set ESG in their KPI. And we see that this is actually a very big improvement in terms of the whole governance together. Speaking as a sustainable practitioner, the driver these days is not easy. The trend is moving so fast. There's new terminology. But the support from leaders, the support from all colleagues is very important, and we need to work harder together on that.
I think the ESG internal education is very good in Sino as well, not just for outside or for investor or for all the stakeholders. I think the internal employee is very important as well. So come back to Johnny, I think your company Henderson have gift and also a lot of project ahead. Can you show a showcase, like one case, how your company do the ESG?
Sustainability and ESG are very important global topics, so everybody takes it very seriously. When we came up with GIVE, we want to make sure that all our projects got these 4 elements in it. And that's why if you were to look at one of the latest development that we have on number 2 Murray Road in Central, which is a very iconic project, which is called the Henderson. So we often work with the best partners, leading architect, leading IT advisor, IT security house, and we work with like-minded partners to focus on GIVE, for example, on green for the Henderson building, even though that it is still under construction. But already we have received 7 highest platinum level recognition in terms of health and wellness, not only locally, but also LEED and WELL recognitions from the US and from China as well. If you were to look at our green capability, apart from getting all these certificates, think about energy saving, working together with our partners, our tenants, and also with tenants' staff. So that's why last year we introduced what we call the LEED program, LIT. L stands for landlord, I stand for individual employees, T stands for tenant. So quite often when you think about energy saving, you think about between landlord and tenant, but we introduced a third element, which is involving the employee of the tenants. So the idea was to provide them, make use of our technology, innovation, to come up with the latest technology, provide them with real-time ESG data so that they can prepare and understand how they are doing in terms of their ESG performance. And of course, we will reward them with our Henderson coins, make use of our Henderson apps, and they can get rewards and use them in our supermarket and so on. And in terms of innovation, we have digital twin for that building. So basically it's a virtual representation of the physical building where we can do a lot of simulation, testing, monitoring, which will help us to make better decisions. I is very important, how we embrace innovation for our future. When we think about technology, we often patent a lot of what we have innovate with our partners. We have this technology which is called SR3, solar responsive ventilator. Imagine all the tenants who sit close to the window. Sometimes when the sun is in the way, so you may feel quite hot sitting by the window. So what this system has is a weather pillar that will constantly monitor the humidity, the temperature, the wind speed, and then it would adjust the indoor air quality for the tenant. So cool air will come out from the curtain wall. Why is it important? Because value for people, as I said, if you improve the quality of the air, that it would definitely improve the productivity and the wellness of the employees. Value for people is being implemented in here. And finally, for the community, when you think about where the Henderson is, it is located right in the central. You can easily use all the bridges to communicate to MTR, and it's easy to communicate to different community. So that's an example of what we have done at the Hendersons.
We're going to go on to this second section of today's discussion. I'm just going to ask you one question that I'm really curious. Is like, how did you get into sustainability? How did you build up your career? Especially consider that maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, sustainability was not in the spotlight of the political discussion. How did you end up dedicating yourself into sustainability?
I was actually at the UK at Imperial College in LSE in Cambridge. And I remember when I studied sustainability, I was actually one of the first Hong Kong citizens. Also, there was not a popular. And I remember the day that when I got into sustainability or environmental degree, and I told my parents, and instead of they were being proud of me, they're like, why didn't you choose medicine? Why didn't you choose law like everyone else? I believe in my passion, and I love geography, I love nature, and I feel that you should always follow your passion. We talk about ESG talents. I always talk to many candidates watching today's as well, many students. It does not matter whether you study sustainability degree. Of course, nowadays it's very important, but sometimes the passion speaks louder than the degree itself. And sometimes we see that the eyes and the heart from students actually tells us a lot of passions. So I start from passion. I think one thing about corporate sustainability practitioner is that often you get challenges in your life and in your work life, and you have to study a lot and you have to keep learning. But being persistent and follow your passion, and I think that is very important. So I started that, and I think I remember when I also start sending out CVs like a lot of students, there were many corporates that have a sustainability department. Actually, there was partially parked under HR or partially parked under corporate communications. But nowadays, if you look into a lot of corporates, sustainability is mostly a standalone department itself. And most importantly is the reporting line. We see that corporate sustainability now, they have a direct or dotted reporting line to the top management. And that is important because we can see the trend is shifting. And nowadays, we see the applications as well. We talk about newer having job fairs. Sino Group also did a career day 2 years ago. And I have my booth. I have a sustainability booth. And at first, my booth was so small because we thought, oh, maybe there weren't many people that's interested in sustainability. You know what? End up, my booth is the busiest. And other departments has to come in and help me out to receive the CV because the queue was so long. It was very overwhelming that to see so many youngsters, especially Hong Kong youngsters, they have the heart, they have the passion in learning sustainability. And I see people also change job now to shift into sustainability and ESG. I would say Hong Kong has a hope to nurture more ESG talents. Today's opportunity is actually a very good start that we can work harder on that.
Just to add on what Melanie was mentioning just now about recruitment, I think I joined Henderson Land around 3 years ago. Well, I started my career as an accountant, and then I moved to banking industry and then the finance industry and so on. So I think it doesn't matter what you study as long as this is relevant. I think sustainability is a very, very big and broad topic. Your skill sets will definitely be useful in the sustainability career. But what I was going to mention is that when we posted a job opportunity on LinkedIn, I was very impressed that within a week, we got a few hundred CVs coming in. I must say, some of the CVs are not that relevant. Half of them were coming from overseas. So it's good to see people are expressing interest in sustainability and sending us the CVs. But at the end, we have to shortlist a lot of them, some good candidates to join the team.
Actually, I'm also staff from CPA and now touch on the ESG field. ESG is kind of something like multidisciplinary field, can adopt a lot of knowledge, not only the sustainability itself, but also like financial reporting, the investment, even the PR. So I think that is an interesting field. Personally, I'm very enjoy to work in the ESG field.
For me, I just touched on this area when I first entered this shop as a policy researcher in FSDC. ESG is one of our major research topics, and I realized that the more I know, the more I don't know about ESG. The topic is so wide, and there's lots to learn about. So I think it's something good for students to further explore. Besides environmental climate risk, there are also much social aspects or issue which the trend is like gaining traction in this area. Students are welcome to enter this field, try to fill this field by yourself.
Thank you. My second question is just want to follow what Vincent and also Vivian's answer. Which discipline of graduates are you looking for if you want to employ to grow with your company, your ESG sustainability?
I'll give it a try, but my company is relatively small, so it may not be that representative reference. So I'll answer in a broader view in the financial services industry. From our previous sharing, ESG and financial services industry have a very strong connection, and the private sectors, Henderson and also Sino, all financial institutions are allocating more resources in this area. They're building new teams. There are lots of different positions, and each position actually requires the skill set is actually varied. For a team, there is communication and marketing, and besides, within a team, they may also need researchers and also legal and compliance to work on the reporting standards. I mean, there are talents who would like to enter this field. Actually, there is no definite requirement for academic background. So as long as you are passionate about ESG, try some internship and take the opportunity. If there is a job role in property field, it will be easier for environmental or social background, academic background person, and they learn a little bit about the ESG financing. And if the business is about IPO, perhaps a candidate with financial background and they learn some ESG aspect, that would be easier for them. There is no a definite requirement in discipline for ESG.
Actually, I totally agree. We are a consulting firm, so we have a team of ESG people, but they all come from different aspects. They have graduated from the sustainability management, but also they have people like graduate from communication, and even also have one of our members is a CPA. He quit the audit firm and then joined, so passionate to join our firm. But I think like that is a very good example. Like we can exchange knowledge amongst the team. They graduate from the environmental school. They don't know about the finance, but our colleagues graduate from accounting, have CPA experience. They can teach them about some accounting, financial reporting standard, and also change their idea fruitfully. So I think that would be a very good example.
I like to take this from another angle. In the corporate sustainability, it depends on the role. I mean, if we're looking at mid-management, then of course we prefer relevant industry experiences, knowing all these terminology, GRI and SASB and TNFD, TCFD, etc. But I think today's topic is more to target fresh graduates as well, which I want to take it from another angle, is attitudes. Now, sustainability, as you can see, all of us today, is actually not just talking, but we have to walk the talk. And it's not an easy job. I think Johnny will agree with me. Nowadays, the sustainability job is actually not that easy. And it's a lot to learn. Like you said, you learn something new every day and you still feel like you have a lot to learn. So I think having bright attitudes, positive attitudes, not to give up easily, and keep learning and looking at perspective from different angles. Don't just look at in your own angle, but also look at it holistically, and also learn to communicate. And now this is really hard. Communicating internally and externally on sustainability is actually not an easy job. But you need to have the bright mindset to be open and willing to listen and willing to improve. So I think attitudes nowadays is actually more important. We'll also look into the attitudes as well.
I like to look for very proactive, because as Melanie was saying, that it's a very big job. You could be focusing on report writing, you could be focusing on the governance side, looking at new policies, you could be looking at new accounting standard. Vincent and I were accountants before. As we know, the International Sustainability Standard Board has issued 2 exposure draft last year, advising on how we should report on climate risk. Final standard has not been released yet, but something which is quite challenging for companies to understand how do we do it. And that's why we work very closely with our accounts department to start quantifying the risk and how much risk that we should be reporting. So in our property management division, we need people to focus on energy saving initiatives. Those people have to be technically strong to understand how to analyze the numbers, who have relevant backgrounds to focus on that. Different candidates will be suitable for different sustainability related jobs. And also for the project management teams that we have, those people are the ones who are project managing new properties. So we need sustainability experts. And on the sales side as well, we need to use sustainability as a selling point. So again, you may need some good salespeople in the sustainability to promote those features, which are good in the long run. They often look for health and wellness features. And that's why one of our properties, North Fun Lang, has been selling very well, because it has all the wellness and health features in it.
So I think I hear all this speaker mention that I think the ESG is so broad. So you need a multidiscipline, or you have a team of a different discipline together, work together, or a person with different disciplines. But the first important thing is the attitude and also proactive, because ESG are new things. You have to learn, you have to explore yourself, to learn new things, to take the challenge. I think this is very important as well.
So I hear that you are mostly leaving behind the academic background and you're paying much more attention to whatever the attitudes and passion of the candidates they might have regarding sustainability. But my question now would be, how do you measure that passion? How do you know that one candidate is passionate about sustainability? How do you identify the skills on candidates?
I would set scenario questions. I will ask the candidates, what do you see as the biggest challenge? How do you overcome it? And also to have the candidates to share with me how he or she feels about the future of sustainability and what would you do to encounter certain difficulties. And often in the students and the candidates and answers, you can actually sense something already. And also, I think to do their homework as well, Johnny and I are literally throwing the whole sustainability report in here to everyone. But sometimes we also realize that when candidates are interviewing our jobs, they first of all need to understand which job they're applying and what is the company's strength in sustainability. And they need to kind of do their homework before the interview. And we see that there are differentiation. There are some candidates who are passionate in joining the company sustainability. And by doing so, they actually literally just memorized a lot of things about the company sustainability. And you ask them about the trends. What do you see as a key ESG trend? And they can literally tell you quite an accurate foresight. So I would say, yes, they need to do some homework before they have any interviews job, but also really to study sustainability every day, not just to study the company's background. I have to say well done to the medias in Hong Kong. Nowadays, they focus a lot on sustainability and ESG stories. And sometimes I read articles and I learn so much from one article. And sustainability is something that's so exciting that we need to learn something new every day. So I would encourage the students, the audience here, please read sustainability news every day. It really helps to broaden your knowledge.
And perhaps when we are interviewing candidates, just like what Melanie had mentioned, we may throw some case study questions and we'll see whether the candidate are able to apply, kind of translate what they have learned at school or from the news, whether they're able to translate the ESG concepts into something, strategy, action items, see if the candidate have this kind of skill set. That would be quite important.
Because we are doing consulting, so we need to cover different industry. In the interview, maybe I will ask some question whether they have some business sense. If the candidate is passionate about ESG, they should have the idea on how to apply ESG strategy in different industry. If they read a lot of ESG news or reports, then they should have a general idea how could we implement ESG strategy to different industry. That will be one of my interview questions to test them whether they are suitable or a right person for me to join our team.
Yeah, I think it's not just about preparing for exams, but when you go for interview, I tend to look at what extracurricular activities that they may have been participating in, any ESG related activities, and see how passionate they are about this job. Come across candidates who just randomly apply for different jobs and not knowing what they are applying for. So I think they have to be prepared. When they are applying for sustainability related jobs, they need to know what it is all about. Quite often I will ask them, do you know anything about the job? What will you be doing? What are you looking for? Trying to make sure that we are finding the right candidate at the same time as they are finding the right company to join. So I think these are some of the qualities that proactiveness is definitely important, and being smart.
It's particularly interesting the fact that when you go to apply to a job interview, it's not about what you answer, but about what you ask your interviewer. So it maybe shows passion, interest, and proactiveness.
I think it's also vice versa. Looking at the boss, if I work for Johnny, I'll be very happy to see the boss is very passionate as well. I also give a tips to the students when a candidate, after the interview, they will actually send you a thank you note. I'll be very humble to tell you, please tell me how I can improve further, etc. And I love final group sustainability. And you're right. I mean, sometimes we trace that, well, not on purpose, but sometimes we realize that the candidate has been following your social media, your LinkedIn. It shows that candidates really has the heart to work for the company for sustainability. So I think one thing to give the students the tips is actually sometimes it's not a bad thing to say a thank you note back to your interviewer if you have a chance.
Okay. So another question is what is the greatest barrier or challenge you see towards achieving sustainability?
I see every challenge as opportunity. I mean, we all lived in a very challenging environment altogether for the past 3 years pandemic. I would say not a word challenge, but I would say we don't know whether pandemic will really be gone. We can never foresee what is happening in a few years' time. And so we need to brace ourselves and for all the changes. I mean, beyond ESG, pandemic is also part of ESG, and we are facing this right now, live in the middle of it. It actually gives us new paradigm shift into some other things. Staycation, the word staycation comes up during pandemic, gives us opportunity to look into sustainable tourism, etc. I think ESG trend is really exciting. ESG standards, there are many more. 3 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe there were just 2 to 3 famous ones, but now it's literally 15 to 18. So I would say that really exciting, but yet we need to brace ourselves. It's actually the ever-changing ESG trend that is just vastly advancing in the past 3 years. We need to brace ourselves for it, and we need to be ready to learn new things. We need to be ready to adopt new things. My first challenge. Second thing I think fits today's topic is ESG talents. I think we all agree that when we need to, like you said, Johnny, even if we want to find new team, it's not that easy to find the right candidates. So I think that Hong Kong has the potential to nurture more ESG talents. Having today's opportunity is great, and I look forward to partnering with more great minds, partners together to nurture more ESG talents in the field. We can continue to make Hong Kong a potential and wonderful sustainability hub as well.
Yes, I think for this decarbonization journey. You cannot just do it on your own. Even if Henderson put 100% effort, for example, scope 3 emission that we're looking at, indirect emission coming from your value chain, your upstream supplier, downstream tenants, you have to work together with them. If they don't do their job, you will never be able to reduce your scope 3 emission. And that's why we constantly go out and tell our supplier that you need to step up. Our tenants, we need to work together to save energy. And that's the challenging part. You have to convince your partners to do it together with you. And we are very committed to do that. We need to keep going out there and reducing scope 3 emission too.
I think continuing education is still very important to make Hong Kong as a finance hub in Asia. There is also other corporation, even the listed company, they are maybe not really fully understand the benefit or the importance of the ESG matters. So I think that will still be a long way to go. How we can educate or give them a continuing education training to the corporate executive in medium, even the small corporation. So altogether, we can raise to the ESG development in Hong Kong.
Just echoing what Vincent has mentioned, having the public to be really embracing genuinely this concept is really important, or else there are lots of different standards or reporting requirements, but one do not know about the meaning behind, they would not be genuinely embracing it and may not take it into action in the daily life. So I think that's something that's really important.
To conclude, I think a lot of the students here, you should be happy to hear the conclusion because, first of all, I think that the future trend, still a lot of happening. We heard about scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, and also the carbon trading, green finance, a lot of opportunity, and also the ESG standard. That confirmed there's a lot of ESG standard. That means it's a new market. So the third one is the education. You can take the education, so Hong Kong MU. After that, even you take the degree or master, you have to do the continual education. Then you will grow to be a good talent, to be headhunted by them. If you are proactive, I mean, your attitude is right and you are doing a lot of continual education, you get the qualification and smart enough, I think you will get a very good job and very bright future. So that is my conclusion for all the speakers.
Thank you very much, everyone, and especially thank you, Nina, Vincent, Melanie, Johnny, and Paul. Thank you so much for being with us today. And without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.